Welcome to the Bringing Simplicity podcast, where launches come to life. I'm Judy, the co-host and co-owner of Bringing Simplicity. I've been helping businesses build their launch processes for hypergrowth by simplifying sales and hiring. I'm committed to your success through leveraging your people and systematizing for scale.
I'm Greta, co-host and co-owner of Bringing Simplicity. I've been helping businesses launch successfully for over a decade by multiplying their results through simple processes. I'm a data lover and technology lover who obsesses over every KPI. So grab your laptops and lattes and get ready to launch with simplicity. So today's episode, we are talking through sales calls. And like I said on the last episode, y'all are super lucky because you get to learn from Judy. It's really funny because if you were to say to me, oh, you can create an automation, I might be like, what kind of automation? And I would start listing out all different types of automations. But like the regular world is just like automations are automations. So we were just prepping for this call and Judy said to me, like, what kind of sales call are we talking about? And I thought to myself, there's more than one kind of sales call. I'm so confused. So maybe we start the episode there. So ultimately, we believe if you truly want to make sales in a high ticket environment, a sales call is a must. It's not a step that can be skipped for a wide variety of reasons. And so in my mind, there's only one type of sales call, which typically comes from somebody entering like a VSL, otherwise known as video sales letter funnel, meaning they go to a page, they see a video sales letter, it says book a call here, or they've attended some sort of live or pre-recorded event where there is not the option to purchase. There is a book a call link because especially in high ticket programs where you're going to be working with these people, you want to make sure you've talked to them before they hit buy. Again, we can walk through why. There's a wide variety of reasons you would want to talk to them first.
Yes.
Are there other types of sales calls, Judy?
Okay, so, for high ticket, I would say there's generally, yes, one type of sales call after, like you said, a VSL, a webinar, whatever that may be. But in your business itself, you're probably always having sales calls, doing market research at the beginning. So I would say at the beginning of your business and you're just starting out with your high ticket offer, everything, yes, is a sales call, but at the beginning, you might be just having conversations to do, like I said, market research to learn, hey, is this a good offer? Is it needed in the market? And are these the type of people that I am targeting? Right?
Mm.
Because you may not know. You may not know. And sometimes some of our clients learn from this where they come in and you start like maybe you sell your high ticket. And high ticket for us, by the way, is over $5,000. But for you, if you're first starting out, you may be selling a mastermind for lower than that. So you can start gaining testimonials and traction. And when you do that and you don't do a sales call or you don't do a sales market call, I'll just call it that. It's more of like a connection discovery call. Some of you guys call them discovery calls. To learn and see if they're the right fit. Once you start the mastermind call with them, you'll realize quickly, I shouldn't have sold this person. Like, I am not the right coach for this person at all. So that is one of the sales calls. But generally speaking, on this call, we're typically talking about the post. You've done all the market research. You know, like your ads are actually targeting the right people. You know how to vet when you're on the sales call. You know exactly what is going to get them. You might even pre-qualify them before with a setter or with a form of saying, hey, is this the right area that you are in your business? The Hormozis do a good job. If you guys kind of see, they kind of reel you in with their different stages of your company, of scaling a company, right? They actually have a formula where it's like different stages. And if you are like us and really nitpick, like you can like change the number on their scaling page and go to the first one if you ended up landing in the third one. But there's other pre-qualifications that you're going to do. So when you're first starting out, there's probably two sales calls. So one is pre-qualifying, and the second is actually closing and selling them, if I had to narrow it down. So,
Okay,
yes.
so you use some terms where you talked about, of course, you're vetting them. So, what does vetting somebody look like on a sales call? Because I know you have always also said, like, sales is a service. Like, we are never looking at people as quote unquote dollar signs. Our number one goal is to see if we can help people. So, talk me through, what does vetting somebody look like when you're going into a sales call with that frame of mind?
Yeah. So I come from the recruiting world. I first started off with recruiting and sales. So I've done a lot of both. So when I say vet, it's really they're interviewing you as much as you're interviewing them in a way, if I want to use like a general term of interviewing and vetting. And so you're trying to discover, which is why a lot of people call them discovery calls, if you can support them and if they're ready mentally to take that stage in their next business. You never want to, yes, you're going to sell somebody before they're actually ready, right? Like some people are not psychologically ready to take that next step in their business and their next leap in their business. But you're trying to see if once they're in, can you take them to that next level? Are they going to get success? It becomes really boring really quickly if you take on a bunch of people who don't end up
Do
having
the work.
success
Yeah.
and do the work. It's gonna be no fun for you at all as a coach, and pretty soon, like, you're just gonna be bored. A lot of you on here, like, you wanna help people. That's the whole point of any of us running our businesses, especially high ticket offers, is we wanna help people, and we want them to get wins, and we want them to have success in their business. So, are they, 1, mentally, psychologically ready to take that next step? 2, do they have the basic knowledge to where you're not having to teach them the ground things of their business, right? So if you are trying to, like, if you're bringing someone on, and let's say, I'm going to use this one because someone came to us before and had like a cake decorating business, for instance, and she was teaching people how to make wedding cakes and all these things. If they've never baked at all, you probably don't want them in your program.
Right. They're not to the point where they can decorate the cake if they
Yeah.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, they're not gonna understand any of the verbiage that you're teaching them. They're gonna be stopping everybody on the call and being like, "Wait, how many tiers should that have? What should the size of the bottom be? What should," like, and I'm not even a a decorator or maker or anything, but, like, those are questions I'd be asking because 'cause I've never
Right.
but
Like, you've never
what
done
is
it.
he? Yeah,
Yeah.
or sold it, right? Like, or anything like that. If they've never done anything, you probably don't want to work with them. So, 1, do they even have the foundation to where you can help them, or do they need to do more work? Because your job as the coach in anything, if you're a true coach or true mentor, all of these sales calls are coaching calls, whether you're getting paid or not. And it's your responsibility as a coach. I kind of is like the coach oath, where it's like, if I'm not the right coach for you, or you're not ready to take that next step, you need to go back and you need to do the fundamentals, right? Like, you're not going to start training someone for the Olympics when they've never gotten into a pool at all and swam any laps. So that's another way that you're vetting them. And then the other thing is you typically are trying to see, like, okay, are these going to be like all-star students, right? So
Mm.
you're always trying to see how quickly can you get them a win, which is like to get them to give you a review. And then also, can you retain and resell them? So you're
Mhm.
always thinking about lifetime value of, hey, do I see myself, working with this person long term? Are they able to gain traction? Also, are they able to refer other people? Are they someone that's going to expand this and like be able to like have a network of people too to bring on? And not everyone does, but those are just things that you're thinking through. Like, they don't have to have all of those, but one of those would be, hey, they're probably a good person to bring onto the program. And then the last thing is, do you want to work with them? I mean, sometimes just personality wise, clash wise, energy wise, everybody knows that sometimes they're not the right coach for that person. They may like be
Yeah.
like, please, like, there will be people like honestly like begging, and we're not saying this to brag or anything, but like begging us to coach them, like Greta and I to coach them, and our clients to coach them, and we were like, no, thank you. For any amount of money, will I coach you? Right? And sometimes you have to do things for your own sanity to continue wanting to do
Oh, yeah. You're not wrong.
this business, and that's okay. It's like anything. You're gonna be spending again, we've talked about this on multiple calls, but you're gonna be spending a lot of time with these people.
Especially in the early days because you're looking to get those testimonials. Like, you want it to be people who you really enjoy working with. And not that you're not always looking for testimonials, but especially earlier on in a program when you're really making tweaks, because your goal is always to improve a business. And you may know that your formula worked one, two, three, 5 times, but then now how do you have it work over and over again? So there's going to be like, you're going to be having more conversations with these members of like, what worked, what didn't work, how was the pacing, like timeline of the program. We've seen almost every single coach I've worked with has played around with timing of like, let's try a 3-month program. Okay, let's try 4. Okay, maybe 6. Ooh, 6 was too much. Let's go back to 4. So those early days, it doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. You're just collecting data based on real life events as opposed to like what's happening in your head.
Yeah, and you're always doing that. As a good coach, a good business owner, you're always calibrating, Greta, like you said, of, hey, is this right? Like, am I providing as much value? Are they getting it? Are they gaining traction in their business? I mean, we've seen people over and over change their business names multiple times or their program names multiple times, right? Like what Russell Brunson's Two Comma Club became Prime Mover or something like that. It's all changed, and that's okay. It can morph and it can change. You're learning. I think another thing you mentioned something, Greta, that made me think. Another thing that you want to vet for is if they're gonna commit the time to doing the work and understand, and it's more of like self-awareness. Do they have the self-awareness to know that they're gonna have to continue putting in the work? It's not gonna be all on you as a coach to do it for them, right? Like, you're not gonna be doing any work for them. So when you said that, it was just like, yeah, they need to commit to that time to be able to put in that effort. Yeah.
And I love it's so interesting because I think we talk about like marketing and sales being so much of like psychology based. And like everything you're talking about, I'm like, oh man, I could like cite articles that I've read or things like that that I've done in my like social work side of my life, or even currently now because I'm obsessed with like Brene Brown of just like to be aware of those type of things while having sales calls requires you to have a really strong understanding of human psychology of like, hey, there should be a healthy amount of fear, right? Like, first of all, our bodies cannot distinguish between anxiety and excitement. Like, it all, in a lot of ways, feels the same in our body. So, if somebody is like 100% confident, there's almost like a little bit like, are you really thinking through how much is going to change? Because, like, you should feel that like nervous, excited energy to a certain extent. If you're like completely like, yeah, can't wait to get started. You know what I mean? Like, it would be weird, right?
Yes, it would be weird. And you're right. Like, I guess that's another part is when you're doing your sales calls, you should be doing them on video.
Mm.
So, to your point of human psych, you're not gonna pick up some of those things, and if you haven't listened to or you haven't read Never Split the Difference, it talks a lot about human psychology by Chris Voss, my favorite book. Um, but yeah, is that you should be doing them on video because you're gonna pick up on those things, and that you should ask, like what I said, well, you should ask, like, "You didn't seem very excited when you brought that up," or if they're bringing up wins in their business and they're not super excited about them, they're not gonna be super excited probably to give you a raving review. So, and some of it you might be taking you might be like, "Hey, Judy, like right now, I just need sales," right? Like, I just need sales. I just need to learn. And yes, early on, you might be bringing on those people. And yeah, you might struggle for the first, cohort or whatever that you bring in, but make sure you learn from that. So make sure you, again, record those calls. Yes, they're on video. You record them, you go back and you watch them and you're like, what did I miss? The other part of that that I like to do, and this might be a me thing. I don't know. It's not for everybody, but like, I love a good challenge. So sometimes I'll bring on people knowing I'm going to have to work harder as a coach for them.
Mm.
They're going to challenge me personality wise. They're going to let me know if, do I want to coach people like this in the future? Right? Am
Mhm.
I open to coaching those people in the future? And so Who's uh who's the player on the Warriors that no one really likes? What is his name? Um, Draymond Green. Nobody wanted to coach him. right? Like when he first came to the league, like he was awful. Like nobody wanted to coach him. He was like arrogant and cocky and like would make all the other players upset and mad. Like nobody wanted to coach him. But once he got on the Warriors and he started working with Steph and all that, like they kind of turned him around and he's a little more likable now. Like, I mean, I don't like despise him now. Not that I despise him early on, but like, but there are certain people that are going to challenge you
Yeah.
and make you a better coach. And you're going to see the potential in them. And then also you're going to be like, damn, this is going to make me a better coach if I take on this person and am able to turn those people around. And if you think of it as if you're a manager or a leader or, a business owner, you're doing that a lot with your team and people on your team where that's all we're trying to do. So maybe don't make it like a full, like you have to change.
Yeah, you don't wanna have, like, 10 people where you're, like,
Yeah.
trying to change the world. Okay, so a lot of our clients are not doing their own sales calls. They've gotten to a point where, they have a good amount of members in the community. They also recognize they're not the best at selling themselves, which is a totally normal phenomenon, and they're just more focused on delivery than sales. How do you know when you're ready to outsource sales calls? And then what are you doing to review your salesperson's sales calls so that you're staying calibrated? Because so much of what you just talked about is like your energy and do you want to work with that person? Like,
Mm.
how do you make sure you don't lose that aspect once you have a salesperson doing it for you?
Yeah. So this isn't going to be fun to hear because nobody likes doing this, including myself. But I mean, you have to spend an abundant amount of time training this new salesperson. One, before you even start there, Greta, okay, let me answer your first part where you're like, how do you know that you're ready to bring on a salesperson and all of that? One is you've done, and I've said this before, you've done like 100 sales calls yourself. You've scripted them. You have them recorded, right? You have them ready to go. You actually have the script. You've tested the script. You know what works. And also you have fulfilled on those members, meaning if you sold someone for 6 months, you already know the outcome of those people
Mm,
that you've sold. So you can say that script worked because, right? Like
they
a
stayed
sales,
in for 6
they
months.
stayed in. It's going to be really hard to bring on a salesperson if you haven't done that to where you can say everybody didn't refund. You know what I mean? I brought on 20 people, 50 people, like none of them refunded. They stayed through the entire time. You
Here are
have
some wins. Yeah, these are the testimonials.
Exactly. Otherwise, that doesn't give them any reason to want to sell. They need to have belief in your product. A good salesperson who wants to be with you a long time really needs to truly believe in your product. And the proof is going to be in the retainment of those people. And then also, like you said, Greta, the testimonials to prove like I did get success from these people. And also they need that information to be able to sell your program.
And if you are currently running a program and have had like 20 plus people go through it and you don't have solid testimonials, you need to rewind and figure out why. First of all, are you not asking for them? And that might be the most basic one. But if people are not raving about what you've provided, then there's something missing in your program. And to your point, a salesperson's going to want that. I mean, we saw that just even today. Like I said, we have a sales team for one of our clients. They wanted a specific person who was located in their area to talk to. And we literally could go through our Rolodex of who has completed the program. And any person who lived in that area, we would feel completely confident being like, you should talk to this person. The potential person buying in sent a private message on Instagram to that person asking for a reference. That person gave a glowing review without any prompting from us. We weren't like, hey, by the way, we sent someone your way. Like, we just no worries about it, no nothing.
Yeah.
And then that person was just like, hey, just wanted to let you know I just recommended you. Thanks so much for everything. Here's some updates on what's going on in my business too. Like, that is how it should work.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
if
you're
you're doing your
listening.
program correctly, that's how it should work, and that's gonna make a salesperson feel good,
Right.
really great about selling your program and being like, "Dang, like, I'm getting in on a business, like, this is gonna be" like, you want them to be like, "This is a no-brainer. This is gonna be super easy to
Yep.
sell," for a good closer, right? Another reason why you wanna have fulfilled on the program is that you want your salesperson to go through your program. They need to know, like, you have to have something for them to go through. So that way they can go through your course, they can watch your calls if you're doing live coaching calls, they can watch your recorded calls so they know what to sell. Oftentimes they're going to be better. Okay, not oftentimes, like 100% of the time, they're gonna be better at selling your program, probably
Yeah.
better than you are, and all they need is your program, testimonials, and your previous sales calls. Once you have all of that, a good closer, a seasoned closer can run with it and be able to sell your program.
So, because you are typically the person who is hiring, training, and overseeing the sales team,
Mhm.
is every salesperson like, whether we're hiring for one business or the other, is it like whatever salesperson you hire is going to be the right fit for you because they all know sales? Or are there specific, like when you're thinking about our clients and you're like, I need a salesperson for this person, how are you making basically that match? I mean, it is kind of matchmaking between a salesperson and the owner of the business.
Yeah, so you're right. Ugh, there's so many things that go into this. I'm gonna try to simplify it, bringing simplicity. That's the reason why they hire us, right? Because they don't have to think about all of these little things, but it is their experience of what they've done in the past. So what types of products they've sold, really, in
Mm,
essence. So we typically want to match people who have sold similar type of products. I'm not typically gonna have somebody who's been doing high ticket for years, then go over here and sell like a SaaS like platform, like a product. Like they're not going to have any desire to sell that. It's not going to excite them. They're not going to stay around for a long time. They may do it a little bit. Um, and then their background and professionalism. So it depends on the type of clients they're bringing in because certain caliber of closer might be better for this person. And I know this is not probably the best thing to say, but a male or female might be better for certain products than other
mm,
products, right? Like, especially if you're doing something that has to do with selling things for children, right? Like, or if it's like anything like that. Like, there's a certain thing where we're going to build rapport if your business is built off. One of our clients, for example, is like, I only target women and I don't target men. Like, you would then consider a male or female for that person to bring onto their team. And then there is how quickly that person needs to be ramped up is
mm,
sometimes like generally I know from working with sales, and you wouldn't know this if you've never trained a sales team, you've never hired for sales. What is the ramp up period that this client needs? Because if that client is like, we are getting so much interest, like I want someone to take this over tomorrow, that's going to be a different experienced closer than somebody that I might have to train to get on the product.
right. Like that you need it for like 3 months of like really getting the product stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so I know that like it's a kind of a vague answer in a sense of basically we match them on their skill set, on the types of products they've closed in the past, how quickly this person needs to get ramped up for this offer or service that they are selling. And then do they match personality? Like any if anything in the team is we want to make sure that that person you're gonna enjoy spending time with because you're gonna spend a lot of time with your closer at the beginning. You're gonna be
Yeah.
calibrating and saying, like, "There's no way that I would ever work with this type of person. I can't believe you sold them," to, "Oh my gosh, great job on all these sales. I love it. Keep up the good work." But you're gonna be spending a lot of time with them. So we typically match up personalities,
Yeah.
um, best that way.
Definitely. Okay, so I kind of moved ahead, but you talked about calibrating. So what are ways that you recommend calibrating with the salesperson?
Yes. Okay. So every day at the beginning, you should be calibrating every sales call. So you want to make sure that there's a process for, again, they're following the same process. They're following the script. They're doing videos. And then you're meeting with them daily and saying, like, what resources can I provide you? Because a lot of times you're going to have to provide more resources to them than they initially needed. They might want like a PDF, a handout to give to them
They
post.
may want a landing page. They may want a voice
Yeah.
memo from you, which is more, specific, like
Hmm.
to the
Exactly.
person. Yeah.
Yeah. So they might want all of these things. And then also they might need a little more clarity. Like, hey, I just got this question. I got this objection. Because they're gonna get different objections than you because they're not the coach. So the
Right.
same objections that you had, they're gonna have new ones. So calibrating those, watching those, reviewing and doing a recap. And it doesn't have to be a long recap. Have them send you a daily update of their wrap up of their sales calls, rate them on a level of like between 1 and 10. How likely are they gonna be to close, within the next, because usually high ticket takes a few weeks for them to like actually close and come up with the funds and figure that out on what they're gonna put it on and then continue to move forward and change and be adding things and services. A lot of times we add videos, Greta, like you said, sometimes on the landing page will be a video of like, hey, thanks so much for meeting with my team. I'm so super excited to work with you. So and so has told me all, whatever. Like we script it. And usually the closer will work with you to script it. We'll script it with you on what that looks like. And yeah, so you should just be calibrating on that. And then also on the fact that the transition went from being you being the closer to them and making sure that we're edifying them as much as possible
Yep.
to be able so that they take that and don't want to. They're always going to want to speak to you as the coach. That's just always going to be the case on what they want. But there's a way to do it to where you could easily edify a closer as long
Yep.
as you're using the right verbiage. So there may be things that the closer will tell you to say or to do or to put in your emails or to put on the website or on the testimonial page or on the checkout page, other landing pages.
Yeah. Okay, Judy, I'm sitting here laughing a little bit because, like, all of the things you're saying to do of like watching the videos, calibrating, providing additional resources, I can just imagine people are like, I'm just going to do my own sales calls. That sounds like way too much work.
Yeah.
So I think one cool thing I want to point out is that it doesn't always then have to be you. So, like, Judy, for example, is the person who's providing basically all of that for the people who we work for, with the exception of like our sales team will meet with the coach once every other week. But then ultimately, Judy is the one meeting daily. Judy is the one reviewing sales calls, catching things. If something additional needs to be created, like they're coming to us, they're not going to the coach. So, just so you guys all know who are out there listening, if you're like, man, I'm ready to hire a salesperson, but boy, did that just sound like something I would never want to do, hit us up. But there also are other companies like us who ultimately serve as a go between. You still will have to be very involved in the beginning. I mean, for us, typically we're helping our clients build their program. We're very involved. So we can answer all of those objections. We've sat on calls, we've helped build the modules. But if you're listening in and you're like, man, I'm ready to take my business to the next level. I want to get more sales. I recognize I don't have time for sales calls. Like there is options for you and you don't have to fall in love with sales calls and do them all of the time. Like you can hire a salesperson and you can hire people to manage your sales team.
Exactly. Exactly. Which I didn't answer the question, Greta, to the one where you said, how do you know you're ready to hire someone?
Yeah.
When you're tired of no. Once you've had sales and have had like 10 plus people, I'd say usually 20 plus people is a good number to have go through. Like you'll have a good amount of testimonials after that. If you have a good solid, like,
I was gonna say, and some of that could be one-on-one. Like, if you've
yeah,
transitioned to, like, a group coaching, but you did 5 people one-on-one, and then 15 people have gone through your program.
yeah. And so I would say that. And that way you can focus on fulfillment. And also when you're ready to make that transition from one to many coaching, because if you're coaching a lot of people, you're going to need time to coach instead of
Yeah.
being on those sales calls. So that would be another point of being like, oh, I know I'm ready for someone to take these over. These should be one of the primary things that you have someone take over your business. Like a lot of people say like VA, like, and yeah, you should definitely have a VA or some sort of admin ops person do things. But then the next thing is if you're selling high ticket, you should definitely have a closer take that over because you're going to be wanting to fulfill. And as a coach, you're going to enjoy doing that more.
More. Yeah, you're gonna get more out of it, like, seeing the transformation.
And you're not going to have as much energy. Like you might think like, oh, but no one can sell as good as me. They're not going to be as excited as me to sell. Like if you have the right compensation package and you have the right offer, These closers are gonna be super stoked, and they're gonna be available, like, 24/7 to be able to close for you. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your sales call knowledge with us today, Judy. These are things that, like, I know to you seem so basic, but not to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Well, awesome, awesome. Tell us how your sales calls are going if you're doing them, and, yeah, love to hear and talk about all things sales.
That's a wrap on today's episode. I hope this gave you some clarity and, more importantly, the confidence to simplify and scale your business without adding to your plate. Before you go, I have a quick favor to ask. Leave a quick review and get a coffee on us. Reviews help more business owners like you find the podcast, and we love reaching them. As a thank you, each week we'll randomly pick a reviewer to win a coffee on us. Starbucks or Dunkin', you pick. Just leave a review, screenshot it, and send it to us on IG at Bringing Simplicity to Enter. And if you could use more simplicity in your biz, be sure to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. That's it for today. Thanks for hanging out with us. Talk to you next week.